A little girl kneels before a billionaire's tower, begging for work. Her voice is small, her reason is heartbreaking. And what the billionaire uncovers because of her shakes the whole nation. Everyone in the bustling streets of Johannesburg had somewhere important to be. Everyone except the barefoot little girl standing in front of the tallest glass tower in the city. With dust on her cheeks, trembling hands, and a worn school bag slung across her shoulder, she blocked the path of a billionaire no one dared to look in the eye, and begged him for a job. Amina didn't belong near Kosi Tower, the 60-floor monument of glass and steel where power lived and breathed. She was 13, too small for the heavy world of business, and yet her eyes, deep, determined, desperate, never left the revolving doors. Inside was the one man she believed could save her mother's life. Her mother's sickness had crept into their home like a slow shadow, first with a cough, then a fever that medicine from the small clinic couldn't touch. Treatment in the city cost more than she could ever imagine. Her father had disappeared years ago in the mines, swallowed just like dozens of other men, leaving Amina and her mother to survive however they could. So Amina did something no child should ever have to do. She decided to find real work. Enough to bring her mother back from the edge between life and death. And only one person in the region paid enough wages to make a difference. Billionaire Kabelo Makona, owner of mines, solar farms, estates, and the very tower before her now. When his fleet of black SUVs pulled up, the crowd reacted like a ripple on water. Security stepped out first. Then Kabelo emerged. Tall, immaculate, unreadable behind expensive sunglasses. People bowed, murmured greetings he didn't respond to. Amina swallowed her fear. Her legs shook with exhaustion after walking nearly 24 kilometers through the night, but she stepped forward anyway. "Sir, please wait." Her small voice pierced the noise. The billionaire kept walking until a guard blocked her. "Move, little girl. You can't be here. I must talk to him. Just 1 minute. Please." The guard refused. So Amina dodged left, then right, and before anyone could grab her, she slipped past and planted herself in front of the billionaire. He stopped. Slowly, he lowered his sunglasses and looked at her. "What are you doing?" I need a job," she said, her voice trembling but sincere. "A job," he echoed, stunned. "My father died in the mines. My mother is very sick. She needs treatment. Can work. Can clean, wash, carry things. Please, sir. I'll do anything." Kabelo's gaze drifted over her worn sandals and tired face. "You shouldn't be here. Go home." Tears stung her eyes, but she stepped forward again. "I walked all night. From Ivory Ridge." "That's impossible," one guard said. Amina pulled out the old map she had used to guide her journey. "I followed this." Something flickered in the billionaire's eyes, something she couldn't name. "You're brave," he said quietly, "but you're too young to work." "Then teach me. Train me." "Let me do anything," she pleaded. "Please. I can't lose my mother." People stared. This child had more courage than half the adults who came begging for favors. Kabelo looked away and began walking. Her heart shattered, until he suddenly stopped. Without turning, he said, "Follow me." Inside Kosi Tower, everything was polished marble and cold air. Executives stared at Amina like a misplaced pebble. In his grand office overlooking the entire city, Kabelo told her to speak. So she told him everything. Her mother's illness, the failing clinic, her long walk, her desperation. Not dramatically, just truth, plain and raw. "You should be in school," he said. "I go when I can. But saving my mother comes first." He studied her like she was a riddle. Then he asked, "If I refuse, what will you do?" "I'll keep trying," she said. "I won't stop." For the first time, his expression softened. "Fine. I'll help you. But not because you asked for a job." "Then why?" His voice dropped. "'Cause once, I lost someone too." Before Amina could ask more, his assistant barged in, breathless. "Sir, the mining collapsed this morning. There were survivors. And one of them claims to know you." Kabelo stiffened. His assistant whispered a name that drained the blood from his face. He turned to Amina, eyes wide. "What was your father's name?" "Saifo Makona." He swallowed. "One survivor says. He is Saifo Makona." Amina felt the world tilt. Her father, alive. They rushed to the site where chaos swirled around injured miners. Families cried. News crews shouted questions. And then, on a stretcher, a thin, dust-covered man was brought out. His eyes fluttered open. He saw Cabello first. Then he whispered, "Amina." She broke through the crowd and fell into his arms, sobbing. He held her weakly but with unmistakable love. "How?" she cried. Saifo's voice cracked. "We were taken. Hidden. They didn't want us talking about the mine's dangers. I escaped through a service tunnel after the collapse." Cabello's face turned ashy. "My company did this?" Saifo nodded. "Your foreman. They said production mattered more than lives." The shame that crossed Cabello's face was unlike anything Amina had seen. He immediately ordered ambulances and took Saifo and Amina's mother to his private hospital. Days passed in a blur of beeping machines, whispered conversations, and painful truths. Saifo suffered nightmares of darkness and dust. Lindio slowly improved under real treatment. And Cabello found himself facing questions he had avoided for years. The investigation began, messy and loud. Protests rose. Lawyers circled like vultures. Families demanded justice. Evidence surfaced. Ledgers, missing safety reports, falsified documents. Cabello forced himself to listen, to take responsibility, to fire and expose every manager involved. He opened the company's books, welcomed inspectors, and paid medical bills for every injured miner. But guilt alone wasn't enough. He sat with the families, listened to their stories, and learned names he had once reduced to payroll lines. Lindio, recovering slowly, told him softly, "Money cannot fix everything, but compassion might." He took her words to heart. Community center was built. Scholarships for miners' children were created. Safety committees were reformed and empowered. And Amina, who once stood trembling in front of the tower, became the first student in a new apprenticeship program, learning bookkeeping, logistics, and worker safety. "I want to go back to school," she said. "But I want to help too. So no other child has to beg like I did." "That's exactly why I need you," Cabello replied. Months passed, and healing became a slow, shared journey. Saifo grew stronger, becoming a safety advisor because he knew the mines better than anyone. Lindio regained her breath and even laughed again. The community, once wounded, began to trust cautiously. One evening on the porch, Saifo told his daughter, "You walked to the city to save us. You changed everything." Amina leaned into him. "We all did." Cabello visited often, no longer as an untouchable billionaire but as a man rebuilding what he had allowed to crumble. He brought tea, listened to neighbors, joined meetings in dusty halls. He wasn't perfect. He still carried guilt like a shadow. But he was trying, truly trying to be better. Amina returned to school with a new backpack and sandals that didn't leak. She studied hard, trained at the community center, and dreamed of becoming someone who could fix systems, not just survive them. And when she passed Kosi Tower months later, she didn't feel small. She felt powerful. She saw her reflection in the glass, not as a begging child, but as someone who had forced the tower to open its doors. The story of the girl who walked all night spread through Ivory Ridge and beyond, not as a tale of pity, but as a reminder. Sometimes the smallest voice shakes the largest walls. Amina didn't know what challenges the future held. There would be setbacks, tensions, mistakes, and new battles. But she had something she didn't have before. A family reunited, a community healing, and a voice that people finally listened to. And she decided that she would keep walking. Not to beg, but to make sure no child ever had to stand trembling before a tower again.